So now let's proceed in the chapter 3, which is the natural law. Natural law is a system of law based on a close observation of human nature and based on a values intrinsic to human nature that can be reduced and applied independently of positive law. So in society, this laws is needed for a reason to govern the behavior of people in according with society's norm, including contract laws, regulatory laws, prohibition laws, personal laws, and etc. To balance the damage done by victim against the person and society in general. So these laws they have a purpose. The natural laws holds that there are universal moral standards that are inherent in humankind throughout all times, and this standard should from basis of a just society. Human beings are not taught natural laws first, but rather we discover it by consistently making choices for a good instead of evil. In October 2016, newspaper reported that Pantaleon Alvarez, Speaker of the House of Representatives, was intending to draft a bill which would amend the country family code, thereby allowing for the legalism of same-sex union. So, in the other hand, Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez has said proposed a win-win solution of his move to legalize same-sex union, allow civil union not just for same-sex couples but also to heterosexual couples. In an interview with reporters Tuesday, Alvarez said he would file a bill seeking to amend the family code to allow civil union both for partner from the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender or LGBTQ community, as well as for partner for the opposite sex. So Pantaleon is supported on the LGBTQ community the way he filed this law. Nowadays, a lot of members of LGBT community to respect of his personality and the decision of each other. This would result in the possibility of two men together and two women together being identified as a couple with rights guaranteed and protected by the law. So LGBTQ is now protected by the law because to respect of each situation and decision, and they are human too. Every person has a right to be respected regardless of their gender identity. Nowadays, a lot of members of the LGBTQ community has been discriminated almost every day. It's just right to protect and promote their rights because they are part of our community. The reason given in the new articles vary, ranging from the opinion that saying two main case is authentic. So if you can see a two same-sex case you did not like and you are unsightly. To the statement that there is sometimes irregular about belonging to the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender or LGBTQ community, and to the judgment that two people of same-sex being together is unnatural. Given this varied meaning of the term natural, we need to find more solid and nuanced way to understand the term. In this chapter, we will explore how Thomas Aquinas provides this, emphasizing the capacity for reason as what is essential in our human nature. So, Thomas Aquinas is known as the greatest of scholastic philosophers. He produced a comprehensive synthesis of Christian theology and Aristotelian philosophy that influenced Roman Catholic doctrine for centuries and was adopted as the official philosophy of the church in 1977. So, and also Thomas is the one of the create a natural law. So let's explore the history of Thomas Aquinas and how he created a natural law. This understanding of the human nature anchor of our capacity for a reason will become the basis of natural law theory a theory which will provide us a unique way of determining the moral status of our actions.
Good day, I am Carmela Sicapilio from BSID Math 1 and this is my report of Thomas Aquinas. Thomas Aquinas, he is considered as medieval thinker. He was the greatest of the scholastic philosophers. He produced a comprehensive synthesis of Christian theology and Christian philosophy and Aristotelian philosophy that influenced the Roman Catholic doctrine for centuries and was adopted as the official philosophy of the Church in 1917. Thomas Aquinas emphasizing the capacity for reason as what is essential in our human nature. This understanding of human nature anchor on our capacity for reason will become the basis of the natural law theory, a theory which will provide us a unique way of determining the moral status of our actions. He was probably the greatest philosopher and theologian of the last 2,000 years. He used the philosophy of Aristotle, which had been kept alive, the great Islamic centrist of learning, to make sense of Christian morality and theology. He begins from the standpoint of faith. His perspective presupposes the existence of God, who is the author or source and the goal or end of all reality. And he was influential in his articulation of theory of natural law. So natural law provide us a unique way of determining the moral status of our actions. Natural law is the concept of a body of moral principles that is common to all humankind. Natural law is therefore distinguished from and provides a standard for positive law, the formal legal enactment of a particular society. According to Thomas, human beings are incapable of knowing the nature of God because our knowledge is limited by its origin in sense experience. Besides, the divine reality is far above the capability of human understanding. However, it is a natural function of the human mind to link effect with which it encounters in nature to their causes. Based upon these principles, St. Thomas offered the 5 proofs of God's existence, which is known in the Summa Theologia as the Quinqua Via. On Thomas' ethical principle, there are 3 factors that can help a human person determine whether his action is to be considered morally acceptable or not. First determinant of moral action is the object or the end of an action, or finis operas. This refers to that which the act naturally ends before all else. It is immediate outcome or natural purposes of an act. The second is the intention of the agent or finis operantis. This refers to the reason why the agent acts. When the human person does a certain action, he has to make it sure that the action will be good in the end. For Thomas, a good act with a bad motive makes the moral action bad. Likewise, a person may not employ an evil means in order to attain a good end. Third, the circumstances. This is the condition which, when superadded to the nature of the moral act, will certainly affect its morality. There are 6 natural rights that corresponding the natural duty. First is right to life, duty to keep healthy and take care of oneself. Second, right to private property, duty to take care of one's property and respect the property of others. Third, right to marry, duty to support one's family. Fourth, right to physical freedom or liberty, duty to respect private boundaries. Fifth, right to worship, duty of religion's tolerance. And last is right to work, duty to perform one's best. Aquinas adopted the ethics of Aristotle, but transformed it by introducing the fundamental notion, the notion of God as the creator and the source of the beingness of man and the world. Humans are morally obligated to use their reasoning to discern what the laws are and then to act in conformity with them. What is consistent with the natural law is right, and what is not in keeping with the natural law is wrong.
Hi everyone! So for today's video, I will going to discuss about the context of Aquinas' ethics. So for Aquinas, the body is not the prison of the soul, but a means for its expression. Aquinas' ethical theory involves both principles, rules about how to act, and virtues, personality traits which are taken to be good or moral to have. The relative importance of the two aspects is debated. The moral philosophy of St. Thomas Aquinas involves a merger of at least two apparently disparate traditions, which is Aristotelian, eudaimonism, and Christian theology. On the one hand, Aquinas follows Aristotle in thinking that an act is good or bad, depending on whether it contributes to or deters us from our proper human end. The telos or final goal at which all human actions aim. That telos is eudaimonia or happiness, where happiness is understood in terms of completion, perfection, or well-being. Achieving happiness, however, requires a range of intellectual and moral virtues that enable us to understand the nature of happiness and motivate us to seek it in a reliable and consistent way. On the other hand, Aquinas believes that we can never achieve complete or final happiness in this life. For him, final happiness consists in beatitude, or supernatural union with God. Such an end lies far beyond what we through our natural human capacities can attain. For this reason, we not only need the virtues, we also need God to transform our nature, to perfect or to defy it, so that we might be suited to participate in divine beatitude. Moreover, Aquinas believes that we inherited a propensity to sin from our parent, Adam. While our nature is not wholly corrupted by sin, it is nevertheless diminished by sin's stain, as evidenced by the fact that our wills are at enmity with God's. Thus, we need God's help in order to restore the good of our nature and bring us into conformity with His will. To this end, God imbues us with His grace, which comes in the form of divinely instantiated virtues and gifts. And that would be all. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I am Melton of Fesher, and today's video I want to discuss you the Neoplatonic good. The term Neoplatonism refers to a philosophical school of thought that first emerged and flourished in the Greco-Roman world of late antiquity, roughly from the time of the Roman imperial crisis to the Arab conquest, the middle of the 3rd to the middle of the 7th century. In consequence of the demise of ancient materialist or corporealist thought such as Epicureanism and Stoicism, Neoplatonism became the dominant philosophical ideology of the period, offering a comprehensive understanding of the universe and the individual human being's place in it. The most fundamental of these assumptions, which the Neoplatonists shared with a majority of intellectuals of the ancient world, including most pre-Socratic thinkers as well as Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and their followers, is that mindful consciousness is an important sense of ontologically prior to the physical realm typically taken for ultimate reality. There existed a dispute between Plato and Aristotle over whether or not the objects of mindful consciousness and are also ontologically prior, but the Neoplatonists regarded this fact as a matter of inconsequential detail, and so, following a venerable and abiding tradition of mind over matter, Neoplatonism inevitably turned out to be an idealist type of philosophy. So that's all, thank you.
So being and becoming by Aristotle. So being is about something continuous and change, and becoming is about how they become. So Aristotle proposed four concepts, which is provide a way of understanding any particular being and becoming. So the four concepts or causes is the material cost, formal cost, efficient cost, and final cost. So I'm giving an example. So a wooden chair. So the material cost is the things made up. So the material cost of wooden chair is it's a wood alone. So the formal cost refers to actual form. So the formal cost of wooden chair, it would be the legs and the material needed. The efficient cost of a wooden chair is a carpenter, the one who visualizes and forms. So that three causes is the part of being or the process to form a chair. The last one is the final cost, is the delos or the end. It reach its fulfilling its purpose. So the part of being or the process to form, it become a chair that people who can sit on, or the result of the process. So understanding the being and becoming. So being is how they are, and becoming is how they become or what they could be. And that's it.
All being are only possible as participating in the first being, which is God. God's act like an emanation of light is the creation of all beings. Since each being in this way participate in God's goodness, each being is in some sense good. According to Thomas Aquinas, for Aquinas only God in the fullness of his being and godness is perfect. All of other beings are participating in this goodness and are good to that extent, but are imperfect since they are limited. Every creature then strives to its own perfection. Thus the divine goodness is the end of all action, while all beings are created by God in order to return to Him. The way the human being is directed toward God is unique. Our way of reaching God is by knowing and loving Him. The presence of capacity for reason is the prime characteristic of the kind of being we are.
Good day, everyone. I'm the one who was assigned to discuss the essence of the law by Thomas Aquinas. But before that, let me introduce myself. I am Michelle O'Malley Hinarlao. So, let's start. Law, according to Aquinas, is nothing else than our ordinance of reason for common good, made by him who has care for that good community and promulgated. Merong batas dahil may rason ito, at itong rason ay para sa ikabubuti ng lahat. In English, common good. Common good means that we act in pursuit of our own end or good with regard for other people's ends or good. Since we are not an isolated being, we just belong in a community. We considered what is good for the community, as well as our own good. An accessible and an expensive public healthcare system, an effective system of public safety and security, world peace, a just legal and political system, an unpolluted natural environment, and a flourishing economic system are example of specific common goods or aspects of the common good. That's it. Thank you for listening. The next reporter, we're going to discuss the varieties of law.
Hi, good day everyone, especially to our instructor. So I am going to report the continuation of Miss Hinarlao about the essence of varieties of law. We all know that God is the creator of all things. We do not only recognize God as the source of all beings, but also acknowledge the way they have been created and the way they could return to Him, which is the work of His divine reason itself. As what Aquinas writes about this law is that God governs all the acts and movement that are to be found in each single creature, the type of divine wisdom as moving all things to their due end. Here's the character of law. It also involves the assertion that the divine wisdom that directs each being toward its proper end can be called the eternal law. Eternal law refers to God's wills for creation, how each participant in it is intended to return to Him. Given our limitations, we cannot grasp the fullness of the eternal law.
Natural law. Natural law adapts a deontological approach to morality as it is concerned with intrinsic goods, the nature of act itself. Natural law refers to laws of morality ascertainable through reason. Natural law is a theory in ethics and philosophy that says that human beings possess intrinsic values that govern their reasoning and behavior. Natural law maintains that these rules of rights and wrong are inherited and people are not created by society and court judges. And also, in Thomas Aquinas' natural law, Aquinas wrote most extensively about natural law. He stated that the light of reason is placed by nature and thus by God in everything man to guide him in his acts. Therefore, human beings alone among God's creative and creatures use reason to lead their lives. This is natural law.
Human beings, different from mere things, is that people have dignity based on their ability to choose freely what they will do with their lives, and they have a fundamental moral right to have these choices respected. People are not objects to be manipulated. It is a violation of human dignity to use people in ways do not freely choose. This right can be thought as different aspects of the basic right to be treated as we choose. So we have the right to the truth. We have a right to be told the truth and to be informed about matters that significantly affect our choices. Next is the right of privacy. We have the right to do, believe, and say whatever we choose in our personal lives, so long as we do not violate the rights of others. And next is the right not to be injured. We have the right not to be harmed or injured unless we freely and knowing do something to deserve punishment, or we freely and knowingly choose to risk such injuries. The right to what is agreed. We have right to what has been promised. By choose with whom we have freely entered into a contract or agreement.
Excessive human population growth, controlled use of natural resources including deforestation, mining, wasteful system, biodiversity reduction by agriculture, and damaging climate change affect the existence of all animals including humans. This discussion is now urgent and people are rethinking their links with the animals we use for clothing, food, work, companionship, entertainment, and research. The concept of one health, one welfare, and one biology are discussed as a background of deriving global change. Nothing should be exploited without considering the ethics of the action and the consequences. This review concerned domesticated animals, including those used for human consumption of meat, eggs, and milk, horses kept for work, and dog kept for company. Animal welfare including health, emotional state, and comfort while moving and resting and unaffected by possibility to the show behavior and relationship with other of the same species or with humans. We show some example of the relation between humans and domesticated animals in the environmental context, including zoonotic diseases, and considered the consequence and the new paradigm resulting from current awareness. In a situation where human actions are damaging much of the life of the world, it is important to remember that the basic concept of biology, welfare, and health are the same from human and all other animals. Human actions have wide consequences, and we need to change that we interact with other living beings. An understanding of the concept of one health, one welfare, and one with biology under application to the daily decision about production system, public policies, market, and consumer could mitigate current negative impact. In particular, an understanding of human relationship with other animals used for food, work, or company help in dealing with challenges concerning their use and system sustainability, including animal welfare. Animal welfare should always be considered in our relationship with animals, not only direct impact, manipulation, but also for indirect effect on the environment, diseases, spread natural resources, availability, culture, and society. Thank you.